Hello and thanks for joining us for THV 11 News at noon. I'm Jurnee Taylor and here are the headlines we have our eyes on right now. Now at noon, former President Trump is expected to turn himself in today in Georgia. In less than 1 minute, we go to Georgia where officials say Trump will be processed just like any other defendant, potentially including a mugshot. Well, gone far too soon. The story of a Central Arkansas first responder's final act of service in just 8 minutes. And some are trying to get a head start on fall, and that means it's time for, I guess, the pumpkin spice latte at Starbucks. Well, you can get your hands on one just ahead after these headlines. And it's crazy that we're even talking about fall. It doesn't feel close to fall temperatures outside. We have meteorologist Scott Cover in for Nathan Scott, and we just made it to noon, and please tell me the temperatures are still under 100 degrees at least.
Well, just barely, but you know, Jurnee, as an Arkansan, we all know that it's not just the temperatures, it's the temperatures and the humidity, and that's really what dictates how it feels outside. And our heat index value here at the noon hour, get this, already up to 114 in the capital city, 112. That's what it feels like in Batesville outside right now. 111 in Arkadelphia, 108 in Monticello. Our temperatures right now in Little Rock sitting at 98. So we're close to that century mark. And right now we're 4 degrees warmer than where we were just 24 hours ago. So we are certainly on tap for a scorcher of a day. We were hoping we could get a few clouds to pass through the area and help keep those temperatures maybe a tad cooler, but we're only seeing a few clouds out there right now. We'll see if we can't get a few more of those to bubble up here this afternoon. As for today's forecast, it looks like we're going to warm up to 103 this afternoon. Could see a stray shower. There's going to be a chance of that. Excessive heat warnings in effect for literally all 75 counties in the natural state. That runs until 8 p.m. this evening. We have a couple more hot days of this heat wave to go before we finally get some relief. I'm tracking a cold front. It is working its way our direction, and it does bring some low chances of rain. I've updated that here in the last hour or so. I've got the very latest for you coming right up.
Thank you, Scott. Well, extreme heat has forced change to schedules of many. The Malvern School District announced it would end the school day early due to heat. They notified parents in a Facebook post overnight. Students were dismissed this morning at 11:30 and will leave at the same time tomorrow. This ensures bus riders can be on air-conditioned school buses. Car riders can be picked up between 11:30 and 3. Schools aren't the only places affected by the extreme temperatures. We've seen a lot of businesses making adjustments in efforts to work through the heat. Going the extra mile landscaping is one of them. Cedric Webb says the company is changing how they schedule projects to keep employees safe.
That's one of the reasons why we have to schedule the way we do, because we got to look out for the guys that are working out here in these extreme temperatures to try to, for their good health.
Webb says his crew often starts before 6 a.m. now to get a jump start on the work day. Former President Donald Trump is expected to surrender to Georgia authorities today. He's facing charges of conspiring to undermine the 2020 election. This is his 4th arrest since April. Christian Benavidez has more on this.
Supporters of Donald Trump gathered near the Fulton County Jail just hours before the former president surrenders to face charges over alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election. He is expected to be treated like any other defendant during the booking process, which could include the first ever mugshot of a former U.S. president.
I got indicted 4 times. All trivia, nonsense.
Trump once again denied any wrongdoing during an online interview with Tucker Carlson last night.
Saying you don't have any right to challenge it. If you challenge an election, we're going to indict you and put you in jail.
With security tight, Trump is expected to make a very brief appearance. His bond has already been set at $200,000. Trump was indicted with 18 co-defendants. Some of them have already surrendered, including his former personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, who was charged with 13 counts for pushing false election claims in Georgia.
This indictment is a travesty. I'm being prosecuted for defending an American citizen.
Late Wednesday, a federal judge denied requests from 2 co-defendants, former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and ex-Justice Department official Jeffrey Clark. Both wanted to delay their surrender, but will now have to turn themselves in by Friday or face a warrant for their arrest. Christian Benavidez, CBS News, Atlanta.
Now, Trump also faces federal charges in Florida and Washington, D.C., as well as state charges in New York. The former president's legal issues were a major talking point for former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson at last night's GOP debate. Moderators asked each of the Republican candidates on stage to raise their hands if they would support Donald Trump if he were to win the nomination. Hutchinson's was only one of two hands that did not go up.
I did not raise my hand because there's an important issue we as a party have to face. And over a year ago, I said that Donald Trump was morally disqualified from being president again as a result of what happened on January 6th. More people are understanding the importance of that, including conservative legal scholars who says he may be disqualified under the 14th Amendment.
While our former governor did get a few moments to make his voice heard last night, only a couple of Republican presidential candidates stood out. Natalie Brand has a full recap from the debate, which featured plenty of disagreements on a variety of issues.
Things we need to do to fight waste.
Candidates didn't hold back as they tried to stand out among a crowded field of GOP presidential hopefuls in a debate on Fox News Channel.
Now is not the time for on-the-job training. We don't need to bring in a rookie. We don't need to bring in people without experience.
38-year-old entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy drew the most attacks as he staked out views which highlighted divisions within the Republican Party.
I'm the only person on the stage who isn't bought and paid for, so I can say this. The climate change agenda is a hoax. The climate change agenda is a hoax.
The candidates were asked to raise their hands if they believe in man-made climate change.
Is climate change real? Yes, it is.
Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley appeared on CBS Mornings and spoke out against Republicans wanting to cut off support for Ukraine, including former President Donald Trump.
We saw Russia and China hold hands before the Olympics and name themselves unlimited partners. A win for Russia is a win for China.
Trump declined to attend the debate on the eve of turning himself in on charges in Georgia of conspiring to overturn the 2020 election.
Someone's got to stop normalizing this conduct.
CBS News political analyst John Dickerson said despite his absence, it was still a good night for Trump.
There was no challenger that emerged. The field is still roughly sorting itself out. Every day that it sorts itself out, that's better for him.
When asked to raise their hands if they would support Trump as the party's nominee, even if he's convicted, only former governors Chris Christie of New Jersey and Asa Hutchinson of Arkansas said they would not. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
It's now been more than 100 days since 20-year-old Amir Ellis of Hot Springs was kidnapped. And while two people are facing charges in connection to his disappearance, investigators and his family are still searching for answers, but they're hopeful for closure soon. Nathaniel Speed and Alexia Chambers were arrested in May, and a juvenile was also taken into custody. Amir's mother, Jessica Ellis, told THV11 she's learned what happened to him after he was kidnapped. Chambers and a juvenile shared some new details during a court hearing this week. Jessica says her son is dead, and there's a specific area in Jessieville where she believes his body could be. The site will be searched through this weekend with help from the community and the Hot Springs Police Department. We have the details on the time and place that search begins on THV11.com. Cassandra Pena Romero, a Little Rock emergency dispatcher who was shot by her estranged husband last weekend, died yesterday. In honor of her memory, police escorted her body to an organ donation center. Pena Romero's mission was to save lives, and with a long waiting list of people in need, her mission goes on.
It may be a very difficult time for your family during that time, but knowing that you're able to benefit another person during your last days is always rewarding for the family, and it's a good thing for someone to do.
MIMS leadership says Pena Romero is being remembered as a true community hero, and the team is praying for her family, friends, and colleagues. A mass shooting has left 4 dead and 6 injured at a popular bar for bikers in Southern California's Orange County. The gunman is one of the 4 dead. Danya Backus has the latest.
If anybody's seen this, stay the away from Cook's Corner. There's a shooting going on.
Chaos at one of Southern California's most popular biker bars Wednesday night.
We have friends that are in the bar right now waiting for us. They were right next to the shooter. It's pretty chaotic.
After a gunman opened fire at Cook's Corner, killing at least 3 people and injuring 6 others.
It's obviously a horrible and a tragic situation. These types of shootings are not commonplace here in Orange County.
The Orange County Sheriff's Department says the first 911 call came in at 7:04 p.m. and within 2 minutes, deputies were on scene. Minutes later, one of them fired shots at the suspect.
The male subject was pronounced deceased at the scene.
Sources told CBS Los Angeles that the gunman was a retired law enforcement officer and the shooting may have started as a domestic incident between him and his wife. The Sheriff's Department is still working to confirm that information.
And we heard gunshots just randomly start going off. And then a few minutes later, we heard it kind of increasing. We were kind of scared, and then we kind of ran back inside.
Jonathan Ziv lives nearby and heard gunfire. He says the historic bar is a beloved spot for bikers and families.
It's a very family-friendly place. Like usually on like spaghetti nights or the taco nights, you always see lots of family people there. I've been there many times throughout my life, so I really enjoy it there. And it's kind of crazy that something like this could happen right in my backyard.
Carter Evans, CBS News.
Police recovered one gun at the scene. Governor Gavin Newsom's office says it is monitoring the shooting and coordinating with local officials as more details become available. Now to a shocking turn of events in Russia, where Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner mercenaries who tried to overthrow Russian President Vladimir Putin, appears to have been killed in a plane crash. Russian officials say he was aboard a private jet that took off from Moscow. Other leaders of the Wagner group were also on board. There's been no official word from the Kremlin on the death, but President Biden said he wasn't surprised. The Maui wildfires have impacted thousands of people and their pets. Just ahead, how some California families are reaching out to help.
It's a hot day out there already. Here at the noon hour, our temperatures are quickly approaching that century mark. It's only going to get hotter. The heat wave continues, but there is relief in sight. I've got the very latest on when you can expect a cold front. Here coming up right after this break.